Before there was anything, there was nothing. No time, no space, no light, no matter. Just a void of pure, absolute nothingness. Then, about 13.8 billion years ago, the impossible happened. A single point, infinitesimally small, smaller than a single atom, erupted with unimaginable energy. This was the Big Bang. In that first brilliant instant, our entire universe was born. The temperature was trillions of degrees, a searing furnace of pure energy. Time itself began to tick forward as space began to stretch, expanding faster than the speed of light. Imagine a cosmic storm, a chaotic swirl of fundamental particles and forces, all contained in a space smaller than a grain of sand. This was the universe in its first second of life. There was no light to see, no up or down, just a blindingly hot, dense soup expanding in every direction. For the next few minutes, as this cosmic fireball cooled slightly, first building blocks of matter began to take shape. Protons and neutrons, the hearts of future atoms, started to form, but it was still far too hot for them to capture electrons and become complete atoms. For the next 380,000 years, the universe remained a foggy, opaque plasma. Light was trapped, bouncing endlessly between charged particles like a pinball, unable to travel freely. The entire cosmos was a glowing, impenetrable cloud. Then a pivotal moment arrived. The universe had expanded and cooled enough, dropping to about the temperature of the surface of a star. Electrons could finally be captured by protons and neutrons, forming the first stable, neutral atoms, mostly hydrogen and helium. Suddenly, the fog cleared, light was set free, and for the first time in history, it could travel across the vastness of space. This first light, this afterglow of creation, is still traveling across the cosmos today. We call it the cosmic microwave background, a faint radio signal that is the oldest picture of our universe we will ever see. It's an echo of the birth of light itself. With the universe now transparent, another fundamental force began to take control: gravity. Ever so patiently, gravity began to pull on the vast, invisible clouds of hydrogen and helium gas that filled all of space. Over millions of years, these clouds grew denser and denser. Particles within them began to clump together, pulling in more and more material. The pressure and temperature at the centers of these clumps skyrocketed until, one by one, they ignited in furious bursts of nuclear fusion. The first stars were born. These were not like the stars we see today. They were giants, hundreds, even thousands of times more massive than our sun. They burned incredibly hot and lived fast, violent lives, lasting only a few million years before exploding in spectacular supernovae. But inside the fiery hearts of these first stars, something truly magical was happening. Through the intense pressure of nuclear fusion, they were forging heavier elements. Hydrogen and helium were being cooked into carbon, nitrogen, and oxygen. When these giant stars died, they scattered these newly created elements across the cosmos like seeds. These were the very elements that would become the building blocks for planets, for life. For us, these stellar explosions triggered the formation of new stars, creating a cosmic cycle of birth and death. As generations of stars lived and died, they enriched the universe with an ever-growing variety of elements. Gravity continued its work, pulling these stars and the gas and dust between them into enormous, swirling structures. The first galaxies began to form, billions of stars all bound together by gravity, lighting up the darkness over billions of years. These galaxies merged and grew. One of them was a beautiful spiral galaxy that we would one day call the Milky Way. It was here, in a quiet, unassuming spiral arm, that a new cloud of gas and dust began to collapse about 4.6 billion years ago. This cloud was rich with the heavy elements forged in the hearts of long-dead stars. At its center, a new star ignited, a calm, stable, yellow dwarf star we call the Sun. The leftover material from the Sun's birth swirled around it in a vast disk over millions of years. Tiny grains of dust stuck together, forming pebbles, then rocks, then boulders, and eventually giant planetesimals. Through countless collisions and mergers, these bodies grew into the planets of our solar system. One of these planets was Earth. Early Earth was a hellish world, a molten ball of rock constantly bombarded by asteroids and comets. Volcanoes spewed lava and gas, creating a thick, toxic atmosphere. But as the bombardment slowed, the planet began to cool. Water vapor in the atmosphere condensed and fell as rain. Not for days or weeks, but for millions of years. This great deluge formed the first oceans, and in those warm, chemical-rich waters, something extraordinary happened. The elements forged in stars, delivered to Earth by asteroids and comets, began to interact in complex ways. Simple molecules combined to form more complex ones. At some point, a molecule appeared that could make copies of itself. This was the spark of life. From these simple beginnings, life evolved. Tiny single-celled organisms transformed the planet's atmosphere, filling it with oxygen. Life grew more complex, diversifying into a breathtaking array of forms, from microbes to plants, from dinosaurs to mammals. This long, unbroken chain of life has continued for nearly 4 billion years, and that brings us to you. Every atom in your body has an incredible story. Calcium in your bones, the iron in your blood, carbon in your DNA. Every single piece of you was forged in the core of a star that exploded billions of years ago. You are, quite literally, made of stardust. You are the universe made conscious, a way for the cosmos to know itself. Think about it. The universe began as a point of light. That light became atoms. Those atoms became stars. The stars created new elements, and those elements, after a journey of 13.8 billion years, came together to create you. The story of the universe is not something that happened long ago, far away. It is your story, and as the universe continues to expand, as new stars are born and new worlds form, that story is still being written with you as a part of it. Thanks for watching.